this year have been spurred on by the Connor Stallions investigation from last year, and a couple of things they were talking about was, all right, well, if someone's videoing signs and signals, what's a way that we can kind of counteract, see what people have actually been shooting on their sideline, and pulling from the NFL. They said, well, they're doing tablets on the sideline. Why can't we get something like that going? Now, keep in mind, this was December, right? Right when we were getting going with bowl games, and so we had no idea this time last year that any of this was going to pass. So, speaking for Tyler and myself, this has been a whirlwind of the past 7-8 months, getting everything together with the infrastructure plans at the stadium. That part more so for us, because there's very wireless. We had to put in quite a bit of fiber at the stadium, as most teams in the country have had to this year. But so we have SEC has partnered with Catapult Sports for our in-game video technology. You're going to see a couple different looking carts if you're watching other conference games. Most other FBS schools have partnered with DV Sport for their replay partnership. It's just different companies doing different things, but SEC decided to go with Catapult Sports for a few reasons. And so for us, in the SEC, both visitors and home teams will be able to plug their cameras in when you get to a game and get your own feed sent to your tablets, both on the sideline, on the field, and in the coach's booth. So how that works is, so for us at home, I'm just going to speak as if it was a home game. We have junction boxes up top on the video board where we shoot all the way up top, and then on the sideline on the old photo deck, right about the 45, if you're looking up there. But we have 2 cameras plugged in with SDI, and it goes to a server in the back of the stadium, and it goes in there, and then we will have 2 people operating what's called loggers on game day. One person marking where the video starts and where the video ends for a play, and then another person putting permissible data into the play. So data was a big discussion with rules with the NCAA this year of what can we attach to this video, and ultimately they landed on this year that's permissible to put any data that's going to be on the scoreboard. So down, distance, field position, gain, things like that, very basic data we'll be able to put on these iPads in real time. So the whole process we will see on the logger, we'll see the play about 2 seconds after it happens, and if the iPads are plugged in the booth, which they'll always be plugged in the booth, or if they're plugged in on the sideline updating, they'll get that play within a second of us closing out the play. So it's pretty fast that these coaches are getting the feedback. Now, on the field in stadium, because of all the wireless frequencies and interference, us along with all the other conferences this year, at least for this first go round, are going to be updating tablets wired. So say you unplug a tablet and go take it over to the bench. It's not going to be updating with the new plays until it comes back and plugs back in, which in the flow of a game, which we saw when we tested with DV Sport at the bowl game this past year, it seemed to work well because the offense comes off the field, you take all the offense plays of the offense, and the defense coaches by then are done with their tablets showing the guys what they need to, and they're on the field. So you have the defense tablets back, they're charging, they're updating at the same time. So you have a whole set to bring on, bring off. We are limited to, we have 18 total tablets, and the team is allowed to put them up on the field or up in the box, choose where they want to assign them for however they are. So they're still going over that, how they want to do that. But we'll have 18 total, and then 2 spares in a box. So if one goes out, we'll be able to throw one on. SEC is partnered with Apple, so it's all iPads for all of us. So on the field, we have the new iPad Pro that has a very matte finish on the screen. I don't know if y'all have ever seen like an e-reader or something with that paper-like surface, but I was blown away, but you can see it in direct sunlight. It's not like your phone where you're kind of squinting or putting your hand over it, but it's very visible on the field. So we'll have those mostly for the field, and then some iPads in a little folio case where they can sit up and stand in the booth. so all the iPads can talk to each other. So as I have a play up here right now. This is just something from Saturday, but you see in the bottom corner down there, there's a little flag. So all the iPads have different labels to where a coach up in the booth could say, "Hey, I just tagged you a couple plays." When they come off the field, they have. We logged 128 plays on the scrimmage on Saturday, but coach called down the field, say, "Hey, I'm in booth 2. Check out my flags." Tap on that. Boom! They got their 2 plays that they wanted to see on the field. So right now, I have sideline and end zone. This is what we ingested from the scrimmage. In game in the SEC this year, we have 3 angles everyone will get per play. They're going to get the sideline, they're going to get the end zone, and we're also bringing in the TV copy of the game. So the coaches will be able to see what's on broadcast for that. And again, all this is coming in probably 3 to 4 seconds post-play. So especially the guys who are plugged in the booth, they're going to get that instant feedback what's going on. They have a little bar on the bottom where you can scrub through the play. And they have thumb controls on each side, and then there's also drawing tools to where you can draw an arrow on there, or even the guys on the field are going like this, but got a whiteboard so you can do a little draw session if you need to draw something up for that. So at halftime, the coaches are allowed to take these devices into the locker room. However, they're not allowed to connect them to any sort of larger display. So we can't take it in there and plug it into a TV or a projector or something. But they can still bring them in there and run up to a couple guys and hold it up and say, "All right, hey, look here, this is what we're going with," and then hopefully they make their way back up to where they came from for the second half, right? One of us will be chasing those down. But it's been very smooth so far. We've been able to use them in two practices that we've had at the stadium so far, and it's been very. It's worked how it's supposed to, which is good. We want to get all that practice in before we get to game 1, and then to be messing with all this. But I think that's going to be the most effective use, like we were talking about, communication from the booth down to the sideline, having guys up there being able to tag, sending messages down. It's almost like having a position meeting after every single drive in game. So where I don't know if y'all saw any of the clips of the guys using it from the bowl game, but they were grabbing it and they'd kneel in front of the cooling bench, or it was a warm bench, I guess, in Nashville, but sitting up holding it, and doing a little 3 or 4 minute meeting in between drives, getting those live corrections in that they might not necessarily be able to do, seeing it one time on the field.
Matt, so if they're unplugged on the sidelines, it'll want to update. Those guys upstairs, it'll be constantly updating, so they can watch right after a play to see what just happened, and they can kind of keep going in the loop, right?
Correct. Yeah. So as long as they're plugged in, they'll just keep updating. So up in the box, they should never be unplugged. So they're going, and we will have extra on the sideline that'll be plugged in, whether it be defense or offense. So say a sudden change happened, they got to run over and take a look what's going on. We're always going to have some on the field that are always updated. It's just for the 5 or 6 that are over at the bench at that time.
Have you had any players struggle with it at all, or has it been pretty seamless?
This interface is very similar to what they see on their iPads that we use in house for game day. So I think the biggest difference is that when they come into a playlist view and are able to filter things, that's a little different than how we do in-house. Because in-house, obviously, we're putting all of our team terminology in there, and they have different cut-ups that are run by the guys upstairs, and they're seeing. So having to do the filtering and running through the plays on their own is a little learning curve, but ultimately, the guys, they've been able to pick it up, and after a couple minutes, it's kind of intuitive, and that's what's so important too for them to get these in the couple of scrimmages that were at the stadium, is that they get a little familiar with it too, with their workflow before we reach game 1.
So like your daily thing, you can have formation, personnel, all that stuff. You won't not allowed to do that in a game situation, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're only allowed to put the data on there that would be on the scoreboard.